Hi, everybody. Welcome to Underscore. My name is Chi Johnson, and I am a marketing specialist at Intellum. Our team of award-winning customer education professionals help the largest and fastest moving brands in the world educate their partners, customers, and employees. We are the disruptors, the innovators, the creators, and the doers. And for over 22 years, we have been observing and rethinking how people learn and collaborate. Customer education is a practical solution to a lot of issues that organizations face with retention and revenue and crucial business outcomes. They need to be able to achieve those, and customer education helps them do that. Underscore is our way of providing more insight into what customer education is and can be. We prop up our experts to share their knowledge and practical advice right here inside of the Intellum platform. Today, we are presenting Marketing a Customer Education Program. And boy, is this juicy. I am so excited to introduce our featured speakers. First up, we have Erin, the Director of Product Marketing here at Intellum. And we also have Robyn Hazelton, the Director of Growth Marketing here at Intellum. And fun fact, these two have actually known each other before they joined the Intellum team. They are leaders in their field. They bring a wealth of knowledge and experience, and they're going to share everything you need to know about customer education and marketing your program effectively. So we're going to dive in and provide a little bit of context. Once you've identified and define the audiences who are going to be trained, you develop your content strategy, you start creating content, you work out your delivery strategy and your marketing strategy, and then you start tracking results and cycle back to make iterations based on the results. I know I just said a lot of word vomit, so I'm going to give you a diagram so you can understand. This is what our product, our platform, and everything that we do at Intellum is based off of. So the business goals, audience segments and personas, content strategy, delivery strategy, resources, marketing strategy, measurement, and application. So when we talk about our methodology, these are the parts that this conversation is taking place in. The blue slides here, the content strategy, delivery strategy, and marketing strategy. What we know and emphasize this often is that the most important part of an education initiative is not the LMS you choose to use, it's the content. So Vicki Kennedy has made this analogy that you can get a super fancy top of the line coffee machine, like the most expensive, and you can still manage to make really crappy coffee. So with that being said, we want to talk through how to make the great cup of coffee, right? But also what is needed to do that. Knowing that content is king, but good content isn't easy. And the old, if you build it, they will come thing doesn't really apply to customer education. How do you make sure that you get the most from that investment and ensure that you're truly impacting the audiences that you serve? So I want to start with, actually, you go, Robyn.
I was just going to hot take you and say so is the best way to make great coffee, to Erin's point, marketing and education have to be best friends?
I think that's accurate. I think that's 100% accurate. So some of you might disagree with that hot take, but by the end, I think you're really going to see how important marketing strategy is to hitting the goals for your education programs. But let's talk about some definitions. Content strategy. Erin, tell me about it.
Yeah. So your content strategy is this process that you're going to go through that's going to help you think through the W's, the why, the when, where, and how your audiences are going to interact with your content. Then you're going to set goals for each piece of content. But truth bomb, you are not going to launch 100 courses and 25 certification programs on day one of your big program launch, right? You have to think about what that is going to look like in an iterative manner. And so through content strategy, that's going to help you prioritize how to sequence out 100 courses and 25 certifications that's in your grand vision, right? And you're going to narrow the focus and know what is going to launch on capital D day one, right?
So then now moving into the next portion, delivery strategy. Robyn, can you dive into that a little bit for me? Or
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm happy to. So delivery is determining the way or the presentation of the content, right? So regardless of the platform, we're really lucky here in that we do have the platform to deliver the initiatives we're working through. But regardless of platform, how are you going to deliver the information to the audience that you're trying to make the desired outcome from? So are you going to present everything in a self-paced learning environment? Are you going to do VILT? Do you have videos that you're going to create on demand? Are you going to have discussion forums? Are you going to build in assessments to measure? A combination of all of the above is also an option. And so just really thinking through the mechanism in which you're going to deliver the curriculum and less about the marketing in that moment.
Mm. Okay. Erin, any thoughts on that?
I'm with you, Robyn. Often Robyn and I's brains are kind of on the same wavelength, so I agree.
So then on the same brain, how do you feel, Erin, about marketing strategy? Tell us what that is.
So this, to me, as a marketer who loves nerding out over marketing, like this is the meat. Like this is where like you go from like weak coffee to like that single origin that you're dreaming of, right? So you're going to define that go-to-market approach. You're thinking about the launch. You're building excitement and awareness. What are you going to do for ongoing engagement? That's all part of marketing strategy. And the call out here that I want to point to is that sometimes marketing strategy gets confused as just promotion. But it's really a lot bigger than just promotion. And my advice for like folks who are kind of newly embarking into customer education, you might classify yourself as a novice and you want to grow to being a master. Key takeaway here is you have to think about these three strategies that we just walked through: content strategy, delivery strategy, and marketing strategy. You really have to think about them in concert, because like I just said with my really awful analogy, one without the other is just weak coffee. Like you can't develop the strategy for content and do nothing about how you're going to deliver it, right? And even more so, let's say you're like super strong. You've got someone focused on content strategy, someone is focused on the delivery strategy, and someone is focused on marketing strategy. If those folks are all developing and thinking in a silo, that is also bad coffee. Like that's like gas station coffee. Like it'll be okay, but it is not going to like put that bounce in your step and make you feel like warm and fuzzy inside. So don't settle for gas station coffee. You have to be a united front in there.
The other thing that I would add is just do all of those things and then scale, right? Like I think so often as marketers, the first thing we want to do is like go big or go home, or jump as soon as somebody says jump. Usually you're saying how high kind of thing. And so I love how you said like you start with go to market, you move into launch, you do some awareness behind it, and then building into your plan. And I'll just like plug plan because like more to come on that, but building into your plan the fact that you need to analyze, you need to look at the data, allow time for you to make the tweaks that are obviously inevitable because nobody's perfect and never does anything 100% the first time. And so like putting all of those pieces together and then building on it to larger audiences, which I think you made that point earlier, right? Like you don't just launch 25 certifications and like, yes, like ready to go, 25 certifications go on day one.
I could not agree more. So we actually had a comment here to talk more about the distinguishing between the delivery and marketing strategy, the differences between the two. And that's actually a really, really great question. And I think on the hot takes that we're about to do, we're going to dive into that a little more. So if after hot takes, you still feel like you need a little more definition, please let us know and we'll get into a little more. So that's what I was about to say is we're about to dive into some hot takes, and what you just mentioned is actually the first one. So if you guys, I want to hear from everyone in the audience as well. If you can throw down in the comments, some of you might agree or disagree with some of these opinions, but Robyn and Erin typically agree on a lot, but I might sow some discord with some of these. So the first one here is that the education team's best friend should be marketing. Hot take.
Okay, look. Yes. Okay. I fully agree. I I run our product marketing. What? Are you making fun of me? Okay, sorry. So I run our product marketing team. My team works very closely with our education team. So I fully agree. We are better together. An example of like what we do together, we work on together, is like producing enablement content, customer enablement content, internal enablement content, product showcases, like things like that. The education team is often coming in with the how, and my team is often coming in with the why, like what's in it for me angle. And I think together, you need them together to really to drive home the change agent in reaching the goal that you're trying to do with education initiatives.
Like I would say that often marketing and education kind of are put in a bucket of like frenemies, right? They need to lean on each other, but they don't always rely on each other the way that they should. And so like one example might be content, right? So we talk all the time about how market and Intellum is very big on this, like marketing content. Our true marketing content is not our education content. And we see that, and we talk to so many companies on a regular basis who often say like, hey, I got all these blogs. I'm just going to put these blogs up and there's going to be my education content and I'll build that into a curriculum. And so, sometimes it's looked at like they aren't friends, or they're, I think I said frenemies earlier. And, but really they got to come back around, right? Like the trick here is that marketing is often trying to get those people's attention and bring them in and keep them engaged, whereas the educators are trying to apply information and change behavior. And so working together is what will create that relationship, but don't mistake their content for the same thing.
I think that's a great call out. One that's typically addressed and is met with lots of discord. So I think that's a great call out, Robyn. So the next hot take.
Sorry. Can I just add one more thing real quick? Yeah. Sorry. Like I think it's also important to distinguish, like, regardless of where that education initiative lives. So our prospects, or even with us, we're really lucky to have a branch or an arm that is education with Intellum. But many times we see these initiatives coming out of success or coming out of customer support, sometimes even coming out of marketing in a different branch. And so as long as, like, the thing I'm trying to say is, like, as long as marketing is involved, I think you can do nothing wrong. Like, I think as long as you're creating a very important relationship there, then you can only get better.
Yeah, and I think one of the hot takes we'll get into later will help support that point. But if you're looking for more insight, always here to plug previous _ webinars. But if you're looking for more insight into kind of where customer education programs live and how that affects like the overall customer life cycle, we have a webinar about that. So I will provide that in our follow-up email as well. So next hot take: marketing an education program is no different than marketing any other product or program.
I mean, I probably should have. I wish I had some insight onto what your hot takes were, but obviously I completely agree with this, right? Like, the way that I think about this, or the way that I try to talk about this, is that your education program is no different than any other campaign you're going to run on the marketing side. So, and just to be super honest about it, it almost has the potential to be the most successful campaign you can run, because they are, those audiences can be some of the most engaged audiences. There's so much content coming out of an education initiative that if you take that content and use it to build your marketing muscle and generate the right type of demand, that's where I say, like, it has the potential to be your most successful campaign. But I could talk about that for way too long, and I'm sure Erin has something to add, so I will zip it.
Yeah, I obviously, as a product marketer, think that to look at an education program as a product, you may not be selling it for money, but you're still selling value, and you're still trying to get adoption and trying to get people to use it. And so from that perspective, you might consider, like, maybe think about the education program owner borrowing some pages out of other books. Maybe the education program owner could be thought about like a product manager. And I like this definition that Atlassian has about like, what is a product manager? The product manager is the person who identifies customer need, and then those larger business objectives that a product or feature is going to fulfill. They're going to articulate what success looks like for that product. They're going to rally that team to turn that vision into the reality. And so I think that's very much what the education program owner is trying to do as well. The other part of that is that the product manager really relies heavily on the product marketer to fully realize that value, the value of the product, the value of the initiative. And so what has been interesting to me as a product marketer is I've actually started to see out in the market, like job descriptions and things for education product manager, education product marketer, like dedicated product managers and product marketers tied to education. So I think that's really cool. And I would give you kind of a piece of advice if you're thinking about like, you know, building some muscles that maybe you haven't built before. If you're coming out of an education background or whatever, like go take a page out of product marketing, go take a page out of product management. There's a lot of great resources. One of my favorite is the Product Marketing Alliance. There's a lot of great resources, thought leadership, templates and courses that you can go build that muscle. I will say too, like I have seen instructional designers who they don't realize it, but they are some of the strongest product marketers I've ever seen, because they are like, you know, instructional designer, education program owners, like they are bringing those skill sets from the product marketing, product management world into their education programs. And I feel like this is where I should answer like Ginger and Kim's question. You guys have asked, what is the difference in roles and responsibilities for product marketing and the education team when it comes to building enablement? I'll give you an example from our team. So my side of the house will build, like we do market landscape, market evaluation, competitive analysis. We're looking at like, what is the value prop for this? What are the reasons why? We're working really closely with the product side of the house to look at identify the problems that were being solved here. So we're bringing that like why, value proposition, problem solution statement type stuff to the education side. And they're pairing that with, okay, so here's how you do this thing. So in our instance, when we're talking about an Intellum product release, for example, I'm bringing that side, they're bringing the how, then we deliver it together to our customers or to our internal teams to just help give that context to them.
I love how observant you are with the question and answer scenario. I was like, there's a question?
I have like 50 things open on my screen.
I'm like, please don't distract me. I need to think about this. And you're all like, yeah, I'm in this. Okay.
That was really great. Like way to answer that question. The timing was perfect. So thank you for that, Ginger. So that brings me to my next hot take, because some people don't understand, or anyway, I'm just going to keep going. Marketing strategy isn't just promotion.
I get to go first, right? Can I go first?
Yeah, you can go first.
I mean, okay, so look, this is where my growth mind comes in, right? I think about constantly, or my focus is constantly pipeline. It doesn't matter if it's customer pipeline or prospect pipeline. I'm thinking about pipeline. Our work is presenting and attracting eyeballs and delivering value through really great content. Hopefully this is one of them, and then capturing the hand raises and making sure we have the mechanisms in place when people are ready to raise their hand and have a conversation with us. Like, so I literally live and breathe promotion. I'm thinking about how we should do it or why we should do it and when we should do it all the time. But like, I agree, its strategy isn't just the promotion. And so here's an example, right? We've fallen into this trap before. I think Erin and I did it together, right? Especially when we're moving fast, we have a tendency to just like I said, jump higher or jump high, regardless of how high they've asked us to jump. And so we launched an important course. We had a whole bunch of hand raises. We got some enrollments and we had some engagement. We focused hard on the promotion. We did ads, we did emails, we did campaigns, we did webinars. The campaign on the surface was really successful, but when I go back in and I look at the data and I talk to the education team, I'm like, hey, what were we trying to do here? We missed, right? We weren't, this is why this webinar is like one of the things that we should talk about and why it's so prevalent is like, we didn't talk through delivery and we didn't talk through marketing and how that would be a better relationship. And so it's something we've improved as we watch a really important course or a really important thing that we think is super important go live. We've built that in on the back end now. We're starting to go slower and think more thoughtfully and larger about the full plan instead of just kind of, in the moment go.
Yeah, I mean, you literally took the words out of my mouth, Robyn. When I told you guys our brains are connected, they literally are. What I was gonna say is like the best advice that I've gotten is slow down to go faster, and it's so true. And like one thing I really think about is like building in an extra week or two into the planning phase of the launch, like not rushing to be like, we got to get this out. If we can get it out tomorrow, let's do it. Like, no, like, let's give it one more week. Let's think about all of these things we've just talked about. What is the delivery strategy? What are we trying to get the customer or the audience? What do we want them to do once they touch that course, once they interact with that course? So spending that time up front really makes it all go further. And spoiler alert, we might just be giving you a tool to help you kind of like get this all together. And I just want to like emphasize too, I mean, we were so excited about that course. It wasn't like lack of effort or excitement or energy being put into it. We just didn't really think like per audience, what did we want to happen? What was the desired outcome? We said, yeah, enrollments, we want enrollments, but like, then what? Take the course and then what? And that like, what would have been different for each of those audiences?
I just want to mention like the most important part of what we do here with Underscore. And I say this every single time, is like, it's not just about us presenting ourselves. Like I say, we are the experts because we sit back and evaluate what we're doing and how it's working or not working. And then we apply it not only to ourselves, but we apply it to our customers. And we're learning through what we're delivering in our customers. It really like, it goes to show like how important it is that we are transparent in the fact that we're only experts because we tried and failed sometimes. Sometimes we try and succeed a lot, but sometimes we do try and fail. And there's lots of value in that too. But Robyn, we talk often about learning from mistakes. So do you have any more to add on this?
I mean, I think Erin has put a button in it, right? It's like the failure was that we didn't partner with education the way that we do now, right? We've learned from it. Would we have done different engagement campaigns? Yes. Should we have spent money on it on the front end? Probably not. We won't do it next. We're going to spend money on the back end and make sure that the behaviors are reinforced instead of trying to spend money on the front end. So like, I think let's bring the coffee analogy back, right? Like you can still make good coffee. We made good coffee. We delivered on the results. We enjoyed the cup of coffee, but like, could the coffee have been way better or even great if we had have done that? If we had have thought more ahead of what each individual audience was going to take from the course and build it more? Like, I mean, yes, right.
That's actually a really good segue for my next hot take. So as with marketing, you're talking about evaluating the audiences and things like that. It's really important to know that you target audience and the message with marketing. Like, you're not going to tell a 95-year-old user of a product the same language as a 20-year-old user. They're just going to understand it completely differently. So if one initiative is meant to target no-touch customers, we're back to customer education here, and a different one targets high-touch customers, would you market that differently? Yes.
Yeah. Right. Spoiler alert. Yes. Like we kind of started to go down that path in that last part of what we were talking about. This is certainly true. We learned that lesson. It is a great takeaway for you all in thinking about how to develop the marketing strategy for your programs. And I think one thing to bring into it, I'm going to make all the education folks in the room happy. Think about Bloom's taxonomy. Do we have a picture of Bloom's taxonomy?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So like, think about Bloom's taxonomy when you're working through the exercise of answering, take the course and then do what? So the Bloom's taxonomy is going to help you guide that what. So like, are you developing an onboarding course for your high touch customers who like, you're still going to do a lot of handholding with, but you need the like, hold on, what is it called? Awareness. I like blocked it. Apply. Like you want them to be able to apply the information, but they don't need to like do their own self-service. So like, if that's the what, the then do what, apply the information and like, don't ask dumb questions to our support team, then, you can kind of then build out the marketing strategy based on the then do what. And also I'm going to like kind of point to Ginger again with your question about metrics. Enrollments and completions are super important. You have to get a sense of like, how many people are taking it, how many people are completing it. You got to get a sense of the like efficacy, or rather, I don't remember the word I'm trying to say, but is it good enough that people are completing it? But really more importantly is thinking about the then do what. What is the thing or the action that you want them to do as a result of going through onboarding? I want them to like take 3 extra steps in our product and like do that thing themselves. You can measure those then what actions as part of your metrics too.
Robyn, did you have anything you wanted to add about the targeting the audience and the message?
No, not necessarily. I think the thing that I agree with is like, yes, let's do all of that. Let's do all of that with our customers. And I think I read Ginger's wrote something about look at me, I'm trying to do questions and not answer my question. See, I don't know how you do this, Erin. Okay, back to do I have anything to add? Yes, I have something to add. The thing that I would add is, what if we do that? What if we do all the things we want to do with our customers that we are doing to protect our revenue, and in SaaS, right, get the renewal? We all care about the renewal. We want to make sure that our customers are happy and stay with us. What if we did that on the front end, right? What if
That's
we
good.
take and apply it to sorry, you were going to say something.
Yes.
Like we do that, right? Like, or that's what we're building with Intellum is like, today people are in our product, or they registered for this webinar in our product. Are we taking people into an experience where they can learn about our product, but also learn about what education can do for their business? Yes. And it is a goal of ours, and we see it in trending conversations with prospects today. Like, a lot of their audiences, if not more than half of their audiences, are actually not customers. They're prospects that are trying to get in and learn about, Drift is a great example with conversational marketing. Drift created a category. Did anybody want to talk about a chatbot before? No, but they educated an audience so much so that marketers 4 years ago were going to their website and just dying to learn more information. And now you can only take that to another level with something like a webinar, or with something like a roundtable, or with something like an assessment built into the conversation. And I think that is like the potential of education with marketing.
I fully agree, and just want to like add one more example to that is like the model of success there is HubSpot. They have so much educational content that is not about the product, that is meant to educate customers and non-customers alike, and it drives a lot of business. So like, Robyn, you're super spot on. Education at the pre-sale level is like super important too.
It's like solidifying your stake in what you do. It solidifies you and your stake and the quality of your product. I think and the services you provide. So I love that hot take. And you guys, if you didn't notice, you slightly disagreed on that one. So this is just a hair. So they do have the same.
I pulled her back around though. I pulled her on my side
Yeah,
afterwards.
ultimately.
Listen, I'm easy.
Oh, that's a great point. Shireen says, and it leads to a better pre-sale and post-sale handoff. So that's
So
absolutely
Shireen,
true.
I'm guessing you do this. I want to hear about it. That's so smart.
Me too.
So that brings me to kind of like, what is the blueprint for success here when you're trying to market a customer education program? And we've hinted toward it a few times, but the customer education marketing plan itself is what we're saying you need to have. Let's go through what your customer education marketing should have. It should help your audience understand the goals and the importance of the program and the platform, right? So this is where you should be taking notes. And we want to talk through, because you want to see how it will benefit them in their daily lives and toward their long-term goals. Like that, they need to be able to see that program as the value add.
Yeah, that's where Erin's metric about measuring the behaviors on the then what, like not the content behaviors or not the content vanity metrics, measure the then what metric.
Absolutely. Then you want to make sure that your program introduces them to the program, and it shows your marketing introduces them to the program and shows them where to go to find support. So if they're engaging with your program and they are then learning about your product or your service or the thing you're providing, then it should show them like very clearly where to go to find support. But then the last thing your customer education marketing should do is it should promote your program and your platform's adoption, engagement, and re-engagement. That last one is super important. So how do you do that? You need to do a go-to-market audience analysis. Like we talked about it, you cannot target everyone the same. And so it's really important to understand who your learners are, your learner goals, and their motivations. What you see is that the image in the middle where everyone's all together, that's your audience. But you need to segment them out. You need to figure out who they are, and not based on like marketers. We tend to look at those as marketing personas, right? This is Jill. She's 30. She works at this company and she makes this much a year. That's a marketing persona. We're not talking about that. We're talking about learner personas and how they relate to your receiving your marketing of your education program. So when you divide them into these three, what we're looking at is Liza here is new to products. She's intrinsically motivated to become self-sufficient in the platform, and she learns by guided instruction. So how she learns and what motivates her is going to inform your content strategy. That's what you're going to look at, and it's going to inform your delivery strategy. Like these personas are how you're going to decide what to give them, how to give them. And those components are a part of your marketing strategy. So then the next thing your customer education marketing should on your go-to-market plan is it should acquire users. Like when how you acquire users, you should define your value proposition, reach targeted segments, leverage existing channels, create landing pages. Can you dive into this a little more?
Yeah, so this is, I think, an important part of that time when I said like build yourself an extra week or two, so that you can walk through these things and say, okay, like in the example prior, when we were talking about how we didn't segment out each audience and think about the like, then what, and then how should we deliver it and market it? Like if one segment of your users you want to take and then do an action, then maybe part of the marketing program is not just here's the course, take the course, you follow it with like, and now I think now you should do this and point them to that then what thing, step, place, whatever, right? It's like more pulling through. So thinking about that journey at the front end, and then saying like, okay, so then given that, I know that I'm going to need an email campaign. I'm going to need a landing page. I want like, when I see that they've completed the course, I want CSMs to reach out. Like you can then build in those steps when you've thought about that like user journey.
One quick second, let me just add, because I typed as Erin was answering to Ginger back, like she had a question that said like, to add to my question, if I'm trying to impact trying to impact retention over time, are there standard metrics to track for each program? Ginger, what I was asking you back is like, have you looked at trends inside your support tickets or listened to customer calls where they're telling you like, hey, this is the thing that I'm thinking about, or here is the problem that I'm having. I bet just to bring this full circle, right? I bet if there probably is a gap somewhere in the content, you can build that content. You can build that out into a course that the marketing team could then take to your customers to say like, hey, we see that our customers are struggling with X and we know it's really important and valuable and why, and here's why, because I listened to the customer and I heard the customer say this, and the communities are also saying this. So we know it's really valuable. Here's the value that we're going to add. This is the course that I think you can change your behavior with, and like, let's go.
Great. I think that's a great way to move on to the next portion. And the ongoing portion of that, it should engage and re-engage. So those are, but realistically, we want to highlight your benefits. We want to clear your roadblocks, like Robyn was just talking about. You want to understand like where the challenges are, and you want to provide outcomes. And then when we're talking about promotion, this is where the promotion part comes in. You want to generate buzz, like you want to keep it going. You want to make sure that it's something that people want to talk about, and then build competition. And that's where we could start a whole other track about gamification, because that's a way to facilitate competition. Robyn, you look like you're about to say something there.
No. I like gamification. Can of worms not opened.
Don't do it, because you'll keep going. So I do want to make sure we have some time to dive into more questions before I get into my just the wrap up slides. So I'm going to stop sharing here. But Ginger, since you've been so active and had really great questions, would you like to ask your next question live? I'm going to promote you and see if you want to join us.
You should come. Come be a part of our tribe. There she is.
Hi, Ginger.
Hi.
Hey.
I would have been sitting at my desk, but I'm lounging instead, listening to this webinar, so I didn't think I'd be on stage.
Your lounging environment is quite nice. I want to lounge.
Yeah.
I was going to say I feel honored to have a lounging person. Someone's lounging and listening. I didn't know. Oh, perfect.
We've unlocked another level of achievement here.
Yes.
All right, Ginger. So you've been talking through like your specific use case and how to apply it. So what's next for you? What do you want to know?
Yeah, I think it's to follow up just from the most recent one. I messaged back about the support tickets and stuff, and tracking mechanisms to figure out where knowledge gaps, and we've been getting better at identifying what those are, but there's still some room for improvement. So it leads me to kind of another question too, is if there's any best practices around finding those gaps, if those mechanisms to track those gaps aren't already in place. And then I think then prioritizing them. I think I've looked at the support tickets and sort of gone down a rabbit hole where it seems like everything should have a mini course or whatever, some kind of sort of training mechanism to help with it. But I didn't know if there was any thoughts around that of sort of how to help prioritize it.
Can you see anything around volume? So maybe if you're struggling with like topics, right? If tickets aren't actually labeled a topic, which is probably something we should think about having those support agents label. But if it's not as granular as that, what I would probably try to do is make an equation to look at in an Excel spreadsheet, look at a way that you can see if there's a lot of volume on a certain type of topic, and then it becomes a larger course that you're addressing with multiple things. And one of the things that Erin said, I think, is like, Erin, what was that good advice you said? Like, don't run before you walk, or something, like
go slow.
It's something like that, right? Like it doesn't, just because you're going to launch something doesn't mean you need to have the full thing complete before you launch it. So you could launch a partial course that is starting to get people into the right behavior and do a part B and add the part B afterwards that adds extra value into more behind the meat. This is like so arbitrary, and I'm sorry, it's not a very specific example, but like if, for example, it was a topic that had a lot of volume come in, you could tackle A first and then tackle B afterwards. And that is one of the mistakes I think we do. And we made it in the past, right? Like we want to do it all really fast. And then we look around and other people are doing it before us. And we're like, yeah, why did we do that? Like,
I think I'll jump in here too and say, in terms of prioritization, ask yourself, what is the impact of like doing the first step that Robyn mentioned? Can you like kind of classify and then evaluate and look at volume? But what is the impact of doing nothing against that topic?
right.
Then if the impact of doing nothing is like, okay, it's fine, it's not going to impact churn. It's like, I don't know, like if the impact is minimal, then like maybe bump that prioritization down. If the impact is huge, if it's like directly, you can tell it's directly related to churn, or it is directly related to like adoption or engagement or active user, whatever is very important for you, then like prioritize that higher.
Yeah, that's a good call out, because it's part of like health score, right? A lot of SaaS companies starting to do health scores here and there. And if your health score if something is impacting your health score and that's low, that's where you start.
Yeah.
Good call out, Erin.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, Ginger. You're the best.
Thanks for having me. This has been a great webinar. Really helpful.
Yay! Well, hopefully you'll share it with everyone you know. Do you have any other questions?
I love how she gives you an arm and you're like, oh, here's the leg. I'm going to take the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, I did have one more question if someone else isn't dying to ask one. I certainly don't want to steal the show.
You better listen. My mom always said, you only get the things you ask for. So
as I was looking through the sort of tips and tricks and things that you want to think through when you're starting to create what I'll call sort of our go-to-market plan to promote the program, immediately I'm a very template type of person where it's like, okay, when my team is ready to do a program, this is a go-to-market template that you want to fill out. Like what, the Bloom's taxonomy, answer that question. So I was wondering if that's a good thing, or is that?
Before y'all respond, I want everyone to know that we did not invite Ginger with the intent of asking that particular question. She is not a plant. We had no idea she was going to ask that. Now, Erin, by all means.
I have a template for you. Yes. You're making me excited. Like, yes. So we put together, I took basically like what I use for our go-to-market and then like adapted it to like an education initiative. And that is your take home from today. You guys are going to get that in the follow-up, I think, right, Chi?
Absolutely. So it will be live in experience by the end of the day today. It'll be an underscore resource, and it's just a downloadable template that you can use. And so I will send a letter through the platform so that you all will get a notice that it's available inside the platform. So yes, we wanted to make sure that like we've given you a lot of information today, and we thank you all for just everything. So thank you, Ginger, for that. That perfect tee up. We're going to go ahead and close out because we've got a few minutes left. If there are
and when you guys, I just want to call out there that when you guys get that, feel free to email me directly. I would love to walk through it with you if you want to. Like, very happy to just get into the weeds. Actually, I like to say get into the work. I would be happy to.
I like that. Because when you're in the weeds, it feels like you're struggling.
It's gross. It's a chore. It's yucky.
Yeah,
getting into the work is like, yes, we're making shit.
Okay. Will you make sure to include both of our emails so we either one of us can
absolutely. So the first thing we want you to do is follow us on LinkedIn. I was about to say Instagram. Follow us on LinkedIn.
You can follow us on Insta if you want to see our children.
Yeah, I got lots of girls. I got lots of little girl
pictures. Three of us post about at any given day is nothing but babies. But for more education content and more insight into how to effectively deliver an education program, you want to follow us on LinkedIn. We are constantly publishing really great content, so that's the best way to find it. To ask questions, I monitor this thing all day, every day. So please feel free to join us there. We also would love for you to dive deeper into specifics. So we have recently launched Intellum roundtables, and these are very small, intimate gatherings. They are not a webinar. They're not a live event by any means like this. They're strictly spaces for you to come and talk with your peers and understand and dive into like the real specifics of delivering an education program to your particular industry. So we're talking like security, manufacturing, SaaS, MarTech, associations, nonprofits. Like we want to get specific and we want to create a space and you to find your community where you can really work through the details of the challenges and then share your successes so that we can really help build this industry of customer education and deliver better programs worldwide. Again, this is not, this is another initiative for us that is product agnostic. We do not expect you to use the Intellum platform. It's not a requirement to come to these roundtables. The things you talk about in these spaces, we want you to be able to apply to whatever platform you use. So please dive deeper by joining a roundtable. We are releasing those dates regularly. And you can find that registration information right inside the Experience platform. And so finally, next month, we are talking about the power of video in customer education. So we're talking about video within courses. We're talking about video in live events. We're talking about on demand, with many different ways that you can use video within a customer education platform and program. We're going to talk through that next month. So join us March 10th at 1 p.m. And last but not least, feedback. Your feedback is the best way for us to grow and continue to grow this this series. We want to make sure that we are continuing to deliver topics that you actually want to hear. And just it takes literally like 2 minutes, but provide your anonymous feedback onto what you think about this and how you can get more out of it. I read each and every one, and yeah. Any final thoughts, Robyn, Erin?
I hope that you guys like coffee still at the end of this, that we did not make that too awful. But no, I hope you learned something. Like truly, I hope that you learned something. I hope I learned things from you guys. And I don't know, key takeaway, education and marketing should be best friends.
Besties for the resties. So with that being said, again, I will send this out. Recordings are available on Monday. So I will send them on Monday. If you want to go ahead and think about one person that can get this, like can get some value out of this, go ahead and think about them. So when you get my email, you can just press forward and send it right to them. How about that?
I'm not sure if I live and breathe promotion as much as you live and breathe promotion. So I think I might like backpedal on my whole, what take number was that when I live and breathe promotion? I love you.
Yeah, marketing
Great
strategy
job.
isn't just promotion. Yeah, that's my whole jam. I'm the promotion lady.
Bye everyone. Thank you.
Bye everyone.